All right, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Get your life together.
Woo woo.
Okay. Hey, Boss Up Tribe. It's D Shoots here. Today we're doing the boss in the chair. The boss in the chair today is Miss Simone Ross.
Hey, D Shoots.
Hey, what up?
You know, it feels good. This chair feels good. This is a nice chair.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be seated in it.
We're talking about leadership today.
Okay.
With our boss tribe. I have a question for you.
Shoot. No pun intended.
I find the best leaders.
My God.
Thank you. I find the best leaders have learned a lot of hard lessons along the way. So, what is the hardest leadership lesson you have learned?
So I think it's funny that you phrased it like, what is the hardest leadership lesson? Because the hardest leadership lesson I've learned is to not be so hard on myself. So I think it's a funny question. Because I am so hard on myself. And it can become paralyzing when you second guess or backstep, and it can really kind of stifle your ability to lead and lead with authenticity. Because I remember earlier in my career, I would go back and I would pine over every word or every email or every action, or did you walk into the room and command the room? And so, and that's a part of the training process too for leadership, is that you kind of train and coach yourself to adopt certain behaviors, but you can't obsess over it. So I think my hardest leadership lesson was being comfortable in my raw humanity, and being okay, cool, you make mistakes, you say stupid stuff, sometimes you came off awkward and weird, and that's actually a part of your allure.
It's a part of people love about you.
Exactly. It's the psychology of okayness. It's okay to be human, and it's going to make you a healthier, better, stronger leader when you don't expect, that perfection from yourself, because then it gives others freedom to be their authentic selves. So I've stopped judging everything about myself and just am okay with me showing up my best self, and I don't go back and replay the tape.
So what do you expect of yourself? So if you're thinking about, what are these top 3 leadership characteristics that, you would describe leaders needing to subscribe to?
So there's so much ego in leadership. And I feel like if you are controlled by your ego, then you are completely losing yourself. So I expect humility. I expect a healthy amount of ego. That's psychologically a part of who we are, per Sigmund Freud. But I expect, though, that you temper your ego to be able to allow other people to shine, and that you have humility in your leadership. Because I think that's huge. I think that's where so many leaders misstep, is that they're being led by their ego and they don't have that spirit of humility. Definitely authenticity, bringing your entire self and showing up your entire self, and being generous with sharing who you are. Which honestly was a tough, and continues to be a tough journey, because in this leadership space, demographically, sometimes you don't feel safe to show up your entire self.
That's so true.
And so definitely authenticity, showing up your entire self, and bringing your whole self to work or whatever situation. Earlier in my career, I thought it sounded stupid, and I thought it was a sign of weakness, because you think, especially as a woman in leadership, you have to be tough and you have to have this exterior, and sometimes that comes off as actually not being so kind. And so I think kindness, and really exhibiting kindness every single day in your actions, whether it's when you notice that the janitorial staff is cleaning and you just take a minute to say, hey, how are you? Really going the extra step to demonstrate kindness, I think, is so important, because there's a lot of meanness. There's a lot of meanness. And I'm gosh, please be kind. And I think that comes with humility too. Get rid of your ego, humble yourself, be kind, but also be strong enough to show up and bring your whole self with an authentic spirit.
I like that you say be strong enough, because I think all of these items take strength. I love to believe that we're all just perfect and that we're all got this leadership thing figured out, even if you've been leading for a long time like you. But it's a journey, and it takes strength and it takes practice. And so what's one of the items on your journey that you're still working on as a leader, that you're still trying to master?
It sounds weird, but I think I'm trying to master the art of recalibration. So because you have to continually like recalibrate your leadership. Like if something, you're going to fail more than you succeed. And so I'm mastering the recalibration technique of failure, especially for like driven type A leaders, which a lot of us are if we're in that leadership position. Like failure or loss can really take a toll mentally. It can take a toll in every way. It can impact how you show up to lead every day. So I think for me, I'm really trying to master like that recalibration. And I think more important sometimes than recalibrating when you've failed is recalibrating when you succeed.
There you go.
To get back to those basics, to get back to humility and exhibiting authenticity and kindness. And so I really want to be able to master gracefully recalibrating and kind of recalibrating my leadership so that it's doing everybody service on my journey.
I love that. What's one thing that you wish you had known before you started leading people?
You know, I was asked that question recently. And that's a hard question. I don't know if it's something that I wish I knew, but I wish that I would have adopted behaviors more quickly, like being okay with myself and knowing who I am. But then when you look back, it's like, well, how do you don't know that unless you have experience.
Unless you go through it.
But I will say that it's hard when you are kind of living in an environment where you continually don't feel okay.
Yeah.
Where you continually, just because of whatever reason. And so I wish that I would have adopted you know what, I'm fine. As I am, I'm totally fine. There's always room for improvement, but inherently, there is nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
So I think that would probably be the biggest thing that I wish I had adopted early on, is walking onto the scene. Like, dude, you are fine, just the way you are. Just keep making your amazing self
you are fine,
better. You fine too. Doe eyes.
You are fine.
You fine too. Show.
Leave the tribe with this. To Simone Ross, leadership is what?
Leadership is love.
Ah, I love it. And I love you.
I love you most.
See you next time, Boss Up Tribe.